sound advice. Reviewing the new FabFilter Twin3. I had a bad feeling about this, to be honest. This is FabFilter, that company that we all adore, absolutely adore. They make some utterly beautiful plugs. That sounds quite nice, right? You know, it's not bad. Sorry about the glitching. Don't really know why it's doing that. I mean, as you can hear, there's only one sound happening, and it's another FabFilter synth. It looks utterly beautiful, doesn't it? You know? I mean, stunningly so. FabFilter kind of invented this style of interface that's been so copied by so many companies. It looks great, and that FabFilter just get better and better at making it not just beautiful, but really intuitive, really easy to use, a pleasure to use, to be honest. So what have they done with Twin? Twin was called Twin because it was a 2 oscillator synthesizer. So they've added 2 more and called it 3. It's a bit bizarre. So look, what have we got here for oscillators? It's an analog. It's a basic subtractive synthesizer. I can't call it basic anymore because it has 4 oscillators, but they're pretty simple waveforms available. But we have 4 oscillators. The thing about FabFilter, the clue is in the name. The filters are stunning. Yeah, the filters is... I mean, the filters are wonderful. I mean, there's no complaints about the filters. Of course, it's what they built their name on, really, isn't it? I mean, the filters built into this, we've got some great stuff like that. Some fat tube filters there, you can tell. It's really incredibly easy to use, I have to say. Here's the effects section, decent effects section. We can look in here, we can save all our effects. We've got some, I mean, they make beautiful reverb these days. Let's just reset that sound. Let's play around. I mean, I'm only having a really quick look at it here, not getting deep into it. It has a very sophisticated sound, very smooth indeed. So look, you saw what I labelled this video, beautiful, but it's just, I mean, this is, look, I just sort of dialed up a few little patches that I found that I quite liked. There's that little arpeggiator game gone. Sounds in it. There are some decent sounds in it. Obviously, you might be thinking, yes, but Paul, how about making some decent sounds? Well, the thing is to To make sounds on a synth, personally, I have to feel inspired to do so. There are so many synths around out there. Some are utterly amazing and really inspiring to work with, and this is just not one of them, I'm afraid. FabFilter, we utterly adore. As I said, some of their stuff is just so good, but their synths have never been in that number, unfortunately. As you can hear, very delicate. Day. Like I say, very beautiful, very simple design, very easy to use. That's great, because some synths are laid out in a way that's really not at all intuitive and therefore enjoyable, vibey to work with. That's not the case here. My problem is that I've kind of made it sound better to you here than it actually is, because before making this video, I had a little play around, found some fairly good sounds. I mean, let's face it, the piece of music that you're listening to is not exactly cutting edge pop, R&B, house, any of those, sounds that really dominate these days. Excuse me. There are synths out there that really do have that kind of sound. I would say these days we live in the age of the wavetable synth. So I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't spend money on this thing. Money's too precious for all of us, as beautiful as it is to look at, as much as I love the company and a whole bunch of their products, I don't think, unless I had a whole bunch of money to spend on just having tons and tons and tons of synths that I've probably hardly ever used, because this would become one of those. Just sitting there, hardly ever used. And why do I say that? Because you're listening to me playing around with it here, and you quite possibly think, yeah, that sounds quite nice, hey, it's been a bit too harsh about it here. Maybe I'm being too harsh about it. But I just don't get the feeling that I would be really using this. Maybe it's to do with presets. I do, like I said, I like to get a vibe. Just have a quick play around, say, what kind of sound am I looking for? I'm looking for an arpeggiated sound, something, so I'll quickly go and just get, because I think most of us will go in, flick through a few presets until we find something that's in the ballpark that we quite like, and think, yeah, actually, I could kind of work with this, and then we'll tweak, start changing oscillator, we start tweaking, we start playing around with that sound. And modelling it, melding it. That's obviously a picture of a pitchfork, so I'm affecting the tuning, which is not a good idea if you're only listening to one oscillator. Let's just get that back to zero. I wonder if you can. No big deal. Let's turn that one back on. There's the oscillator sync. I suppose this is level. I mean, I haven't really looked at this thing. I'm just. You can hear it's a very pure sounding synth. Very pure. Very pure sounding synth indeed. But I just don't think I would use it enough to validate me paying money for it, because I have so many synths. I've even got synths that I don't like quite as much as this, but that are real workhorses, a real, the kind of synths that will come up with the results sound like what modern records are supposed to sound like. I'm not going to name any of those other synths because this review is about FabFilter Twin3. I really like so much about it. I love the company, but I would suggest that it's not a synth to go out there and buy. I think it's more a case that if you go out, and I thoroughly recommend you do, purchase the FabFilter complete bundle, because there's so many must-have plugins in that bundle. I honestly think that they make the best EQs, compressors, limiters, gates, de-essers. They make a fantastic reverb, a fantastic delay, an amazing filter. There's a whole bunch of plugs of theirs that I really feel I need to have in my arsenal, and so I wouldn't really want to be without them. And if you do that, then you'll get this bundled in with them. So I think that's the way to approach this. You might find yourself playing around with it and really falling in love with it, and I hope you do. Maybe it's for a kind of person who makes a specific kind of music, maybe. But anyway, I've been Paul Waller from Audio Snobs, reviewing FabFilter's Twin3. Very beautiful synth, but I don't think it's exactly what you'd call necessary.